recommend you stick around to see why a custom website may be a better option for you. What the f? So like making a website really isn't that hard as long as you have like 10 years of experience with coding. It's pretty easy. I gotta be honest with you guys. I'm having way too much fun doing these intros. So what's good, everyone? In today's video, we're going to be talking about how simple it actually is to get started making your own beat selling website.
We got that mother.
And then as promised from last week's video, we will have Chris from the team join in to help us in today's video. Now, in addition to Heat, he has done web design or marketing for companies like EDM Prod, Mastering.com, Heroic Academy, Rouge, and of course, Robin Wesley. And he's also a music producer and has been making beats for almost a decade now. So enough of the talking, let's hop into the call. There we go, Chris.
Hey, what's up, man?
Chris, okay, we're live. All right,
Boom.
Sweet.
We're here.
So, Chris, I'm not wasting any time today. What are the biggest misconceptions people have about making a website?
Biggest misconceptions for sure is that you need to be very technical, that you need to know how to code.
So we don't need to know any coding. We don't need to be a developer. None of that. All right.
None of that. You need a ton of time, that it takes hours upon hours. Of course, it takes a little bit of time to get up and running, and there's a bit of a learning curve, but once you get through that, it should be very easy.
So do you think somebody could possibly make a website within a week? Do you think that's possible?
Definitely. The other one is, I'd say that it costs a lot of money. Really get started for $50 upwards to $100, really depending on what you want to do. But once you just need that budget and you're good to go.
We don't need any coding experience. We're gonna need like $50, $100 to really get started here, and we can probably set this up within a week, given we put some effort into it.
Say you work a 9 to 5, you go to university, put in like 2 to 3 hours every evening, or maybe an hour in the morning and 2 hours in the evening, and by the end of the week you should be good.
Okay, so Chris, with all the experience you have done with different companies, even around producing, what are the main reasons that you think that you should have your own website?
Sure. Well, first of all, you may ask, like, why would you get your own website in the first place? Why wouldn't you use a BeatStars Pro page or a Airbit page builder or whatever these other BeatStore providers offer, right? It's risky to build your business on top of another business. If you remember right, there was like a BeatStars sort of a hack back in 2018, and they changed the names of all the tracks and stuff like that. Like, imagine that would happen to you. It would be so devastating. Second one is you really have the freedom to market the beats the way you want to. So for example, you can use different analytic tools, different marketing tools. A lot of beat stores don't integrate with those tools out of the box, right? A lot of times you cannot even install them. The third one is you can really make it look the way you want to. And we sort of mentioned this in last week's video. So if you haven't checked that out, you should really check that out. And then the fourth is it's a much better long-term SEO play. So search engine wait, I'm not even going to say that.
Search engine optimization is what Chris is trying to say right now. This guy's a professional at this?
All right, so the fourth one is it's a much better SEO play long term, so you'll be able to rank better on Google.
All right, Chris, so I want to make a website today. Where the hell do I get started? What the hell do I need? Advise me.
Well, there's only 3 things you really need to get started, which is a CMS. So that's a content management system. You can think of a CMS like a very easy way for you to edit your website in a user-friendly way. It's usually made for people that aren't super technical or whatever. Think of companies like WordPress, Squarespace, Wix. I personally really recommend using WordPress since it's so beginner-friendly, and you can really take WordPress anywhere. So let's say you're not happy with your current host. You can just switch hosts like that and deploy your website elsewhere. For example, a Squarespace or a Wix, you're really stuck within that platform.
So like if I were to go make a Squarespace website today, because I think that's the easiest, but then I watch this video, I do some research, I'm like, damn, I really want to go to WordPress. I'm screwed, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so the second thing you need is a domain name. So that's essentially your house address. It's not your hosting, it's just your domain name.
This one's really easy to explain to you guys. It's like youtube.com. The domain is youtube.com. Facebook.com. The domain is facebook.com. Don't overthink it. So then, Chris, where do you go to get a domain first, and how much does that cost?
I'd say I really like these two companies, which is name.com and namecheap.com. It's kind of in the name, namecheap.com.
Yeah.
Usually the domain names over there are a little bit cheaper. And I'd say for .com, you pay anywhere between $9 upwards to $12 a year. So
A year. Okay, so
it's nothing.
now, what are the best practices for a domain name? Should I just make it whatever I want to make it, or what should I do here?
Make it short and sweet, speak it out loud, and check if it sort of feels right. You have to say it a lot to a lot of different people. Also make it memorable, so when you say it, people will actually remember your domain name. Don't use any weird characters such as hyphens. I feel like that's very old school. You used to see that like 10 years ago or something like that.
So like if my name was, let's say my name was Keyboard Beats, my website would just be keyboardbeats.com. That'd be like the best.
For sure, yeah.
For sure. Just like one example to make this very obvious to you guys, let's choose Robin's website, Chris. Let's say Robin's is robinwesleyinstrumentals.com right now. So I would never make it Robin Wesley old school R&B beats for sale.com.
You know what? I would buy that right now.
But that is a terrible idea though to get started.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it's definitely a joke.
All right, so here's where I think most people are gonna have some like technical learning curve issues, and it is hosting. Can you please explain hosting for us? All right, so during the call, Chris and I got a little technical with this, and we went on for a little too long. So when editing the video, I figured it'd be better if I just punched in and explained it like this. So I want you guys to think of making a website like making a house. Your CMS is the house itself, your domain is the address for your house, and then the hosting is the foundation that you build your house on. Let's get back into the call. All right, Chris, let's say I'm still not convinced of WordPress, right? For whatever reason, I want to choose WordPress. I choose to go Squarespace or Wix. How does hosting work with those types of website builders?
Usually with those website builders like Squarespace, Wix, and all those other guys out there, the hosting is usually baked in. So you pay a monthly price to them and they'll take care of the hosting.
So if I choose to use WordPress, then how do I get hosting for my WordPress website?
Sure. Well, there are really like two types of hosting. You have managed WordPress hosting and you have unmanaged WordPress hosting.
So then what are the differences between unmanaged versus managed?
Well, managed hosting really is that once you sign up with that host, you can create a new site and boom, they'll spin up a brand new WordPress site for you. You don't have to do anything. And usually you cannot really enter the server and do a lot of things yourself. Whereas with unmanaged hosting, what you often need to do is what they call a control panel, like cPanel. You need to go in, install WordPress yourself, do all of these things that are sometimes even complicated, and then you'll be up and running. But like, I often don't like to recommend that to people because it's way more technical.
All right, so now that we know that managed hosting is the way to go, which companies should we look at to buy our hosting from, and what is that going to cost us?
I'd say there's really three companies that I can really recommend: Flywheel, SiteGround, and Kinsta. They're both really, really good hosting companies with great support. If you're just getting started, usually SiteGround or Flywheel will do the lowest plan. And once you want to step your game up, you're getting more traffic and you feel like you need more server power to cater to all of that traffic, you can upgrade your plan on SiteGround, Flywheel, or even go with Kinsta.
Now, to give you those prices, Flywheel offers a $15 a month, and SiteGround even offers as low as $5 a month for a monthly plan. Also, please keep in mind that you will be needing a marketplace plan to a beat store to get that HTML player that you're gonna put on your website to take care of artists listening and buying beats. Now let's get back in the call with Chris. What are the absolute pages you need to have on your website?
You definitely need a contact page. I see that one missing way too often. The same goes for an about page. I don't see that one often either. So if you have a little bit of, text explaining, maybe a bit of a photo, have a little bio going on, I think that helps a lot already with people trusting you. Third one you need is a homepage, of course, pretty self-explanatory. So the fourth one I'd say is licensing. Have a separate page on your website where you explain everything about licensing. Another one I'd say is the blog. I think that's an opportunity a lot of producers miss out on. For example, writing articles about licensing or how to buy beats, stuff that really increases your SEO value, but also your user experience. And of course, you sort of need to cover your your terms and conditions, privacy policy, just those, those standard legal pages. You never know when it comes to sort of bite you in the.
So with getting started with the WordPress website, the first thing is going to be designing the layout. How do we do that since we don't need to know how to code? How does that work?
So with WordPress, you have the option to install all types of plugins. And a plugin is kind of what extends your site. So you can install a plugin for SEO, but you can also install a plugin for designing your website. And in this case, I would really, really recommend Elementor. Within 2 minutes, you're already designing. They have a ton of templates. So you can just click on the library. You get a ton of templates that you can just use. Let's say you start with the homepage. Once you have the homepage done, you can reuse those sections that you've used on a homepage to create your contact page. Keep the same vibe, but you have a quick starting point, if you will.
Now, with using Elementor and WordPress, there's already a lot of videos out there on YouTube. So I asked Chris to find the ones he thinks were the best for beginners, and we linked those below. So getting into the final thoughts of this video, Chris, what is your advice? What's your words of wisdom for all the new producers out there shaking in their seats?
They're like shaking. I would say keep it simple. Look at other producers. For example, go to robinwesleyinstrumentals.com or to ruj.co.uk and really sort of research those websites and look what they do and how you can sort of tie that back into your own brand. Because those websites work, I can tell you that. Of course, like this topic might seem super overwhelming and that there are a lot of different things you need to know. True. I mean, there's definitely a bit of a learning curve, but like you didn't learn your DAW within a day, but you know a heck more within a week, right? So I definitely think it's possible for you to create your own website. It seems daunting, but once you get started, especially with Elementor, you should get in the groove very quickly. To really wrap this up, I would suggest to check out my article in the description. I sort of wrote this in way more detail than that we can do in this video, so give it a read.
With that being said, if you want to see Chris be brought back onto the channel, I don't know why I was struggling with that sentence, let us know and we'll dive more deep into creating a website maybe. If you just want Chris back in general, I don't know. It's up to you guys.
We'll let the people decide. Maybe I get roasted so bad.
The bloopers are going to be, if you're watching it this far, I have a lot of bloopers for you. Let's roll them.
I think I might look.
That you had.
For me, that's not what I want to say. What do I even say here?
Squarespace or Wix.
So sorry.
You can't laugh.
We got that motherfucker.